Good morning. I'm at a stoplight. I'm not looking at you. Today we're going to meal prep, but first I need to go to the grocery store and get some vegetables. Welcome to Weekend Skills Lab, by the way. I'm still at the red light. Now I can go. I'm Christy, and I don't like to buy my vegetables before Sunday for the week because they're going to sit in the fridge all week and I need them to be as fresh as possible. We won't discuss how long they've probably been sitting in the grocery store. They're not coming out of my garden, so I got to get them somewhere. And I offered to take my daughter, because she loves the farmer's market, to take her to the Dallas one and we could do like a walkthrough video. I thought that would be fun. And she said, no, I just want to stay home. Okay. So for meal prep, for my lunches this week, I'm going to take some apple chicken sausages and sweet potatoes and a marinated bean salad. I'm having a hyper fixation food right now, which is green onion sour cream dip. And I've been eating it with Fritos. When I was growing up, it's the same brand, and I just rediscovered it at Walmart again. It's green onion dip that you mix with sour cream. It's powder stuff. Growing up, we always ate it with Fritos, and so I call it Frito dip. Well, I've eaten my weight in Fritos and sour cream dip, so we're going to try some vegetables, because I'm not going to give up the dip, but I'll give up the Fritos. So, and I'll be over that soon. They never last long. Unlike my daughter's hyperfixation foods last months, mine last a week or two, and we're done. And it's funny, because I was thinking the other day, like, I should probably give up dairy, because dairy's inflammatory for your gut. And I thought I should probably scale back on the dairy. And then I found the dip, and that was over. Just like that. We're eating all the dairy. Oh, that sun is feisty today. Fall is so almost here. Are there any parking places? Yes. Yes. The fall is almost here, and that sun gets excitable. Downright vicious sometimes. Alright, let's park my old car here. Go get some vegetables. Green onion dips out of the thing. Those are $1 a piece. They're out of stock. So we're in the kitchen now, and I'm starting off. I'm gonna boil some water for my iced coffee that I'm gonna make. I make a picture of it, keep it in the fridge all week. It goes with my protein shakes. But what happens here is I start too many projects at once, and I get myself overwhelmed. It's like, as I'm going through the cabinets, this was not supposed to be a canning day by any means. No canning was on the plan for today. But as I was going through the cabinets to get the beans for the bean salad, I realized I'm out of pinto beans. I had 1 can of pinto beans left, and so I decided that I'm going to can pinto beans. And then I go through the bowl that has the onions that I need, and I find purple onion that needs to be used, something, and then I decide, well, I'm going to make pickled red onions, and then things just start to evolve, and you can't see it yet, but you can see that I'm not moving very quickly because I'm trying to process all that I'm thinking about doing that was not on the plan. I haven't even, at this point, started the meal prep, which is the whole point of the day. Here comes the canner. And so I think where I went wrong here is the placement of the canner. Normally I have the canner on the other counter, and it was just in my way. Today, my kitchen felt too small. I don't know if you ever deal with that, when your kitchen just feels too small. Today it did. And I think it's that canner's fault. All because I wanted to can some beans. So for my boiled eggs, I'm putting in about a dozen eggs. I didn't even count them. Into the canner. It's also a pressure cooker. You don't just can with it. So I'm going to put these in on high for 3 minutes. And then I'm going to let them naturally release for 3 minutes. Then I'm going to open the vent and allow it to release unnaturally, manually, the rest of the way. And then I'm going to put them in an ice bath. So that's all this is. I'm making boiled eggs. You can do it in an Instant Pot, same thing. Just make sure that you put 2 cups of water, or at least 1 cup of water in the bottom. So I'm finally getting to my meal prep. I'm going to go ahead and get my sweet potatoes in the oven at 425, and I'm going to cook these for 45 minutes. I'm just pricking them all with a fork all the way around and just laying them out on a piece of parchment paper before I put them in. Alright, now it's time to make our green onion sour cream dip. So this is simple. It's 1 package per 8 ounces of sour cream, and you can see I bought the big tub, so I'm just going to mix all this up. So I decided while we're waiting on the eggs, I'll go ahead and get my beans started. So we're going to dry can these beans. Well, we're going to can beans from dry state. I'm not soaking them or anything. I did rinse the beans. So I've done a whole video on this. It's half a cup per pint, 1 cup per quart, and I have 2 quart jars and 3 or 4 pint jars, pinto beans. So I just measured the beans out. Now I'm going to put the water in, and a teaspoon of salt per pint, 2 teaspoons per quart is what I put in there. I think it should have been a half and a whole, but we'll just have salty beans. Alright, I'm taking the eggs out of the pressure cooker now, putting them in the ice bath, and a couple of them exploded while they were in there. It's okay. The worst one I fed to the dogs, and they loved it. All the others were fine. Yeah, there's the big explosion. I wasn't sure what to do with it. I ended up just putting it in there. So I've cleaned out the canner now, and I am filling up with the jars. I'm putting the quarts in first. So whenever you pressure can, you have to go with the time for the largest jar. It is not going to hurt the smaller jars to go a longer period of time. So because I have the 2 quart jars in there, I have to set the time for 90 minutes on high pressure in my electric canner. If it was only pint jars, it's 75 minutes. The next round, when I only have the other pint jars, will go for 75 minutes. Here I am peeling all the eggs. And what was supposed to just be boiled eggs turns quickly into, of course, not something I intended, which is egg salad. And that's okay too. I keep seeing this lady in my feed. I think her name is Auntie Lisa, and she eats eggs and pickles and mustard for like every single meal at work. And one of the things that she has been eating lately is the soy sauce pickled eggs. They're not pickled. They're just marinated, I guess, in soy sauce. So I thought I would try that. So there's my eggs in the soy sauce. So we're going to see how that works out for me. And I just continue to peel these, and that's the one that went to the dogs. And we're going to turn this into an egg salad. So as with egg salad, nothing is measured here. Again, I don't even know how many eggs are in there. So I just chopped up some pickles, and then I'm going to squirt some mustard in there, and I put some mayonnaise in there, and then I'll taste it. Super simple. My son will probably eat these for lunch as sandwiches, and my daughter won't touch it because I wasn't thinking and I put the pickles in. So it's all right. Feed the boy. My sausages are done. I had forgotten that I put them in. They actually got a little too done, and there's Libby blocking everything. Finally, we're at our meal prep. So the sweet potatoes are done, the sausages are done, and I am literally just putting these into containers to take to work just the way they are. I cut up some of the sausages that wouldn't fit, but got them all in there, close them all up, and I'm going to stick these in the fridge. So I was going after a shallot, and I found this red onion that really needed to be used up, so I decided that I'm going to pickle this red onion. So first I'm just going to slice it up, and then I'm going to make a brine, and we're going to pickle it in the fridge. I'm not going to can it or anything. I'm just going to do a refrigerator pickle on it. And it was at this point that I realized that I don't know how to make a brine from my head, so I had to go find my cookbook that has the brine, and then I had to find the brine recipe, and realized I do have everything I need after I deciphered the recipe, and all was good. So now we make a brine. So it's 2 cups of white vinegar, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, and I added 2 tablespoons of garlic to this, and I had 1 squatty jalapeno ready on my plant outside, so I went outside and got that. Stir it all together. You're going to bring it to a boil for 3 minutes, and then we're going to pour it over the onions in a jar. I'd had the jar in the oven, picking up the residual heat from when I would use the oven before, so it just got warm so that when I poured that hot brine in, it didn't bust my jar. Now we're going to make the marinated bean salad, and I've never had this, but I'm hoping it's really, really good. I'm putting in 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and then I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, whisking it together, and then I'm going to put the shallot. It says 2 tablespoons of shallot. I'm using just 1 small shallot. It says to let the shallot marinate in the vinegar and oil to let it mellow out a little bit while we prepare the rest of it. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of chopped roasted red peppers. I couldn't find roasted red peppers at the store, so I just bought a little jar of pimento peppers, and then I googled it, and perfectly acceptable to substitute pimento peppers for roasted red peppers. I'm doing a rough chop on these. They're already chopped up in the jar. I just got them a little finer. And here is some thyme that I'm pulling off the sprig. It calls for a teaspoon of that. I'll link this recipe in the description box if you want to try it. It's actually really good. I tried it before it's finished marinating. It's in the refrigerator now, continuing to marinate. I just added a little bit of my basil salt that I had made before. It just calls for salt. And then I added the peppers and thyme, along with some Italian seasoning and a little bit of paprika. And then I'm going to mix all this together. And I'm going to use my jarred white beans in this. I end up using 3 jars. It calls for 2 15-ounce cans. Apparently my jars are not quite as packed as a can that you buy in the store is, so I ended up using 3, and it was the perfect ratio. Just giving it a taste. Tastes pretty good. and I'm just going to now put it in the jars, or in the bowls, the meal prep bowls, so that I can put these in the refrigerator, let them finish marinating while I drop some on the counter, and put these away for my lunches. So I'm going to have some good lunches this week. I only have 4 bowls like that to put these in, so I just one day will not have it, and it will be a sad day, I'm sure. It is time to take the first round of beans out of the canner and put them on the towel to cool down. And once those are completely cool, after about 24 hours, I'll take the rings off and wash the jars and store them on the shelf. Second round of beans is going in the canner. This time it is only pint jars, so 75 minutes is sufficient. And on to my last project for the day. I decided to call it quits. I harvested 1 okra from my plant today, and so I want to get it cut up and breaded and put in the freezer so that I can make fried okra soon. And how I'm going to do that is with this fish fry. So fish fry is basically just cornmeal and seasoning, and that's what this is. So just cutting up my little okra, and you'll see I'm going to put it in the bag with a little bit of that seasoning. I'm not going to just dump it all in there. That would be silly, because maybe I won't get another okra. Maybe the ants will get some okra. But I'll have 4 little pieces when that day comes. So I'm just putting a little bit in the bag, and I'm going to shake it around and get it coated really good. I did wash that okra before I did this. There they are, all coated nicely in the bag. And I'll just keep adding to that bag and getting more okra in there until I have enough for dinner, or one day maybe I'll just have 4 little pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and seal up my jar, put that with my other jars of stuff that I need to label, because I can't seem to tell the difference between powdered milk and salt. And there's my little okras growing. There's all the canned stuff finished. There was dinner. It was delicious. I just made up some taco meat and mixed in my last jar of pinto beans, which is why I had to can more pinto beans. And then I added those pickled onions on top. It was delicious. I may have stood over the pan and just eaten it with my Fritos. I'm just kidding. I used tortilla chips like a proper lady. It was good stuff. Now I'm sitting outside, recording this very last bit for you in my sad garden. I hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you soon.